Let's go against the flow.
Laban ako sa agos, I go against the flow.
Against the flow. Against the flow.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another hour of Against the Flow with me, Jordan. Anyhow, kamusta na po kayong lahat? You know, what I did notice ever since the start of this pandemic is negativity and toxicity went on the rise. And I'm talking about on social media. And nakakalungkot lang ang negative na namang pangyayari, tapos ganun pa yung makikita mo. I call it the Q effect. Kasi quarantine, it has caused a lot to become bored, tapos naging irate na, tapos irritating na rin ang behavior. Nakakainis na dahil walang magawa, ang daming time. Yan tuloy na trigger at on the rise yung mga keyboard warriors. Sabi nila, ang tubig kapag naging stagnant or hindi siya dumadaloy, nagiging mabaho siya or sabihin natin tumataas yung toxicity. And maybe it's the same because this pandemic is either bringing out the best or worse in us. And so today, I'm going to talk about how to stay positive, pero not from COVID, okay? If ECQ were a test, ano kaya ang lalabas na test sa iyo? Ikaw ba ay magiging mas negative na tao or positive? I found something in faithit.com that's talking about 10 kinds of toxic Christians. And I think 5 of these ay on the rise nowadays. Let me go ahead and share to you some of these. So there's the always cynical Christian. Siya yung mahirap mag-trust sa mga others. Meron siyang trust issues, and basta there's a general lack of trust towards people, and there's just nothing good to see in anyone or around. Tapos meron din mga tinatawag na the world is caving in Christian. What's that? Sila yung mga we're all gonna die, we're all doomed, and the zombie apocalypse malapit na mangyari. There's also the political Christian. Those are the types na puro rant against the government or the president, tapos aawayin ka, i-unfriend ka kapag ikaw ay hindi pabor sa kanilang political views. And then there's the I love Jesus but not the church Christian. So these guys, mahilig sila sa isolation, ayaw nilang makisama sa family or sa group ng mga believers, or meron silang mga hugot, kaya shots being fired to the church. Sana hindi tayo ganun, because, if you love Jesus, then you should also love His bride. And then finally, there's the loves to pick a fight Christian. So, mahilig makipagdebate, yan, keyboard warrior, or trolling. As Christians, we really should quit bashing or trolling. Hindi dapat natin gawain yun. So, nakakalungkot lang isipin na tinawag pang Christian yung mga toxic na to. So I hope if you think you're a toxic Christian, one of these has to go. And I hope you don't get rid of yung pagiging Christian, but rather get rid of the toxic. Mag-ingat lang, baka naman mas maging toxic ka pa kaysa sa COVID. So again, I hope all this time that we are being bored and frustrated, hindi tayo maging beast mode. So, the Bible does tell us whatever is true, whatever is right. Yung mga bagay na yun ang dapat nasa isip natin. So the first thing I'll tell you today on how you can test positive in your faith is you gotta have a positive mind. So it is important, especially nowadays, that we take care of our mental healths. Dahil sabi nila on the rise daw ang depression because of this pandemic and this quarantine. The Bible gives us some tips on how we can take care of our mental health. Yun nga doon sa binasa nating verse kanina, yun yung mga bagay na dapat pinapasok natin sa isip natin. In Romans chapter 12, verse 1 to 2, it says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but rather be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So wag natin hahayaan na yung pattern na nakikita natin ang mag-form sa isip natin. And then it says, you offer yourself to God as a pleasing sacrifice, holy and acceptable. So what do you do when parang overwhelming na yung situation? When you feel like masyado ka nang affected? We need to pray that God would open up the eyes of our heart. There's a song that I like to listen to, and the lyrics say, it may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. And that's actually taken from a story in the Old Testament. Elisha, Meron siyang servant na paggising, pagtingin niya sa labas, they were surrounded by the enemies. And nowadays, parang ganun tayo. We're surrounded by the enemy, si COVID-19. And it seems like, oh no, we're gonna lose this battle or war. But then, Elisha, he said a prayer. He said, God, may you please open the eyes of his heart. So what happened to the servants is the eyes of his heart, when they opened, pagtingin niya, hindi na niya nakita yung napapalibutan sila ng negative or ng mga kaaway. Ang nakita niya yung mga kakampi, yung mga angels. And I think nowadays we need to have our hearts open then, because it's so easy to give in to all this negativity. But God, He is with us. Sana sa ating social media, yung mga pinopost natin na banat, hindi tayo puro laging parang may kaaway. Pero tayo, lagi tayong may kakampi sa Lord. So we need to have the mind of Christ. Sabi ko nga, peace is not the absence of a pandemic. You can still enjoy peace that is in the Lord. A positive perspective will help us have a positive mind. So it's okay to read yung mga nasa balita, yung current events, but don't obsess over it. Tapos, you be aware of the negative, but choose to focus on the positive. Huwag naman maging toxic positivity na tinatawag na in denial tayo. It's hard, but we will get through this. Dapat ganun yung isipin natin. Mag-iingat din tayo sa the company we keep, because sometimes nakakadala din yun. So kung ang fina-follow mo, puro toxic, or yung mga people you're surrounded with, maapektuhan ka rin nun. So iwas sa toxic relationships. Relasyon dapat, hindi relasyon.
Are you sure?
What do you mean?
Please don't.
What? I want to.
Please don't. Don't do it, man.
It's my right. Go away.
Dude,
My right. I'm gonna do it.
Guys, laban lang tayo against COVID. Huwag tayong susuko. And today I'm giving you 3 positives so that we can stay positive and afloat in this fight. So the next thing I'll tell you, you gotta have positive talk. Talk is cheap, sabi nila, but there's also power in declaration. Colossians 4:6, it says, let your conversations be always full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer everyone. And nowadays, yun nga, when we answer people, parang kulang sa salt and grace. So dapat tayo, yung grace na pinakita natin sa Lord, ganun din. So medyo kahit naiinis ka na sa gobyerno or sa mga friends mo or kahit kanino, remember to give the same grace that you were given. So syempre, puro tayo problema ngayon. Yung iba sa atin nalulungkot na. And sometimes we have friends who try to reach out and help us. Wag naman tayo masyadong mag-dwell. Tapos nagagalit na tayo sa mga taong gustong tumulong sa atin para maging well. So may mga tao ngayon na sobrang nagde-dwell sa negative things that they have seemingly become allergic to anything positive you try to present to them. Huwag tayong maging masaya sa malungkot. May nagsabi, huwag niyo na akong pakialaman kung malungkot ako kasi dito ako masaya. So, how do you become non-toxic in a world that's full of toxicity? Let me give you a list right now of simple, quick things that we can apply para hindi tayo maging toxic. Unang-una sa lahat, you have to stop making everything an issue. We don't need to have a say in everything. Second, we need to stop reacting to everything. We don't need to comment everything. We don't need to have a reaction to everything. Sometimes nga, your silence is better than reacting. Because me, I get frustrated myself. Pero hindi naman komot, I don't show my emotions online. It doesn't mean that they don't exist. Hindi pa pag may kaaway ka minsan, hindi naman necessarily kailangan mong makipagsigawan. Sometimes, Tatahimik ka na lang para makatulong sa situation. So what else can we do to be non-toxic? How about learn to be supportive? And then there's also humbling yourself. And then admit your mistakes. And then you could also be more thankful. So gratitude, not attitude. Kailangan natin yun. At sabi nga nila, mas healthy ang iyong pag-iisip kung marunong ka maging thankful. That's what health science is saying nowadays. Philippians 2:14 says, do everything without arguing or grumbling. Meron pang nauso nowadays, ang tawag ay cancel culture. So basically, pag hindi ka agree sa somebody, you cancel them out. Ayaw mo na sa kanila. Hindi wala ka nang tatanggapin dahil meron silang isang view na hindi mo tanggap. Kaya lahat na lang ng gawin nila, it's either you'll bash or you'll hate on. But I must say, cancel culture is not Christian culture. So kung Kristiyano ka, wag mong giyahin yung mga nagaganito. So now what happens pa nga is, dinuktuhan pa nila yung cancel ng something hashtag, and they start to cancel things, people, and then soon they will cancel family, cancel Against the Flow, cancel church. Why not, rather than cancel people or things you shouldn't be canceling, may I suggest cancel culture. Cancel COVID. Cancel nyo na lang ang toxicity. Cancel Satan. Ayun. Or cancel whatever negativity may hinder you from growing during this time. Think about that.
Hi, this is Jonah San Diego and I go against the flow.
So the third thing I got to tell you is you got to have positive actions. Matthew 5 talks about being salt and light in this world. Bakit kaya salt and light? Why are you not called the sugar of the earth? Salt is powerful because it is used as something to add taste or flavor. It also preserves, and so we need salt. Imagine niyo kung gaano ka-boring kung yung pagkain natin wala. And it's also healthy, of course. So I want you to think the power of salt right now. You don't need much of salt. You just need a little bit of it, and yet it's effective. So halimbawa, kapag ang caramel ay hinalo mo sa salt, hindi mo to tinatawag na caramelized salt. Rather, it's called salted caramel. And we're also called to be the light of the world. You know how powerful light is? Na kahit napakadilim, all you need is a flicker or a small flash, and it can pierce through that darkness. And you know, Christians, we are called to be the light in this world. It's very, very dark, especially nowadays. But I want you to think how powerful light is right now. Alam nyo, kapag sobrang dilim, ang kailangan lang flashlight. Pero kapag sobrang liwanag, meron na ba kayong narinig na nag-imbento ng flash dark? Hindi kayang i-pierce ng darkness yung light. So the Bible says we overcome evil with good. So that's how we do it. And this is also proof of your faith. And we have to love. This has to be our weapon. So I suggest weaponize love. If you're gonna speak truth bombs online, okay lang, sige. But may I suggest, speak truth bombs in love. Because, you know, the Bible says, and Jesus says also, this is how the world will know that you are His disciples. It's by your love. You're still watching Against the Flow, brought to you by the Church of the Nazarene and this station. Before I say goodbye, reminders lang po to please like our Facebook page, Against the Flow Radio, and follow us at Twitter at Against the Flows. And you could send us your email if you have any comments, suggestions, and requests. We'd love to hear from you. We are againsttheflow@gmail.com. And don't forget, pwede rin kayo makinig sa Against the Flow every Saturday, 9:30 on 702 DZAS.
Against the Flow.
Kung sinisikap natin magpaka-Pilipino sa isip, sa salita at sa gawa, I hope and pray that as believers, as Christians, ganun din, sisikapin natin, especially in these negative times, that we will be positive. I'm not just talking about positive thinking here. I'm talking about applying yung faith natin sa ating lifestyle, whether we are online or not. So if ECQ is a test, I pray na pasado tayong lahat after this. My challenge is simple. maging negative sa COVID, pero be positive of Christ. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope to see you again next time. My name is Jordan, reminding you that only dead fish swim with the current. So let's all go against the flow.
Dami sa sug, kutok yang ninagos. Laban ako sa agos. I go against the flow. Sumuyatang ni agos. Kontra sulong. Laban ako sa agos. I go against the flow. I go against the flow.